Marquette Devon Burton, the saint and the sinner, giving you lessons from a pimp. Today, folks, we are talking about investing and the stock market. I personally don't invest in the stock market any longer, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about it if you don't understand it. And I'm not only going to give you my perspective, I'm also going to give you the perspective of a very reputable money manager, one whom I've met personally, whom this book was written about. So I'm actually primarily going to be going through this text, giving you all of my notes from this book, very meaningful tips on life, investing, money, and the stock market, something that you should all understand if you live in a capitalist country. And let's be real, even communist China is a capitalist country. During the downtime in which I'm literally reading through my notes in this book, I will allow folks to come on screen and ask their questions. So let me be clear. When I'm moving through the pages in that downtime, I'll let you ask your question. I'll be happy to answer your question in brief. Obviously, we're giving priority to the saints, those who are a part of www.patreon.com/the saint and the sinner, because I always tell you to show love to those who show love to you. So as a part of me showing love back to the saints who show love to me, your questions will be prioritized. I see that we have about 8 people waiting to join on the video call. I will let you on and allow you to ask your question once I get a little bit of downtime. But first, I want to go through this, so please feel free to hang on. First and foremost, I want to give you a little backstory on how I came by this book. Most of the books I have, I did not purchase. I was gifted the book. So I'm going to give you a backstory on this one. As you know, I run a technology company. I used to take my team to certain places to, be creative and reimagine how we run our business. I took my team to a place called Petoskey, Michigan, which is way up north, like way up north. Petoskey, Michigan is so far up north that you have to travel south just to get to Toronto. I appreciate you hopping in, paying that tuition. Zest, thank you, brother. And that is one of the saints from patreon.com. Truly appreciate it. So we went way up to Petoskey, Michigan to spend the summer. The summers there are absolutely gorgeous. And me and my team, when we were not working, we sometimes go to the local casino. This is way back before Islam, back in the day. So I go to the casino with my employees. It was a small little Indian casino. They'd have a 14-foot craps table, be basically me, my team there, and a couple of the local people who, like to gamble. Now, mind you, in this particular community, people had a lot of money, because it's primarily a yachting community. So a lot of folks go there for the summer. They got their boat or their yacht, and they pretty much just spend their summers on the boat. It's a lovely place. Mike at Real Talk TV, thank you for the donation, brother. I truly appreciate you, and I'm glad that I inspire you because you guys inspire me. Shout out to the saints. And so basically we be in there gambling, right? Me and all my team, and then a couple of the local ballers. So I'll be in there every now and then. I might have $20,000 on the rack. You dig? I'm talking crazy, throwing the dice, making big bets. And there's this one older Jewish guy who came in one day, and I guess he saw me, just being a young man with a lot of money to spend. And he came over and started up a conversation with me. And by the end of the conversation, he said, my son wrote a book about me. And obviously, as a father, few things could warm my heart more than that. And I want to send you the book. So why don't you give me your address? I'll go ahead and send you this book, my gift to you. So I gave him my address, and he sent me the book to my Baltimore address. When I got back home, I checked my mail. Sure enough, the book was there, and it was called The Steady Climb. The guy who the book is written about, his name is Paul Hack. He's a money manager. He's managed many, many millions of dollars for very wealthy people. I imagine he wanted me to become one of his clients. And so I read this whole book. When I get a book, I don't always read the whole thing because every book is not for you. You have to think about what your goals are. One of my goals has always been amassing wealth. So I said, I'm going to read this book written by a money manager because he probably knows a thing or two about money. Would you be kind enough to turn on that AC? I'm getting a little bit warm. And if you see a t-shirt in my bag, would you hand that to me? So anyways, I read through this book and it had some great tips on the stock market and on money and on life in general. So I want to take you through some of these tips. One thing I do want to point out to you guys, especially the saints, and when I say the saints, I'm talking about the people who really mess with me, the people who want to advance in life, who want to get money, who want to get women, who want to get all of the greatest things in life. Understand what he did. He gave me a gift. He didn't know me at all. He gave me a gift, which is a way to invite someone to have rapport with you. It's a way to invite someone to feel obligated to do something in return. It's the smartest way to influence. So he gave me this free book on money management. So you can set that down. Thank you. So he gave me this free book on money management with the intention that I would read the book and say, wow, this is a great book. You know a lot about money. I'm going to have you manage my money. I didn't do that because I don't invest in the stock market. Before I go into this book, I'm going to tell you why I don't invest in the stock market. I don't invest in the stock market because I used to invest primarily when I was in college, and I learned a majorly important thing about the stock market. You are investing in other people's companies and other people's businesses. You're investing in the CEO and the company that they're running. You're assuming that the CEO is managing the team effectively, that the CFO, the chief financial officer, is making accurate accounting, right? The balance sheet is accurate. The profit and loss is accurate. They're not committing fraud. You're making a lot of assumptions of people who are strangers. And that's one thing I learned that I don't like doing, because when you're investing in the stock market, you're basically investing in public companies that are run by strangers under the presumption that they're not breaking the law, that they're creating accurate financials, and that their company is running smoothly and it's running in accordance with what they're putting on paper for the public. That hasn't always been true. I'll tell you about my first two investments before I get into this book. My first investment was in a pharmaceuticals company. It was called Melanotan. And at the time, they were just going through testing. It was supposed to develop into a pill that you take. And once you take this pill, it makes your skin darker because it stimulates your melanocytes. Why would this be a good drug to invest in? Because of the Orange County market. Women who want their skin to be darker. They want that Brazilian golden brownish look. And so I invested into Melanotan because I thought it would develop into a pill and women could take that and not have to go out and tan themselves and get damaging sun rays. Well, I invested in that, I think, at $1.25 per share. And then eventually the company dropped down to 25 cents per share. So I lost a tremendous amount of money. Why? Because it was a drug and the FDA did not approve the drug, so it never went to market on time. So the company essentially ran out of money. The second company I invested in was a micro engines company. What are micro engines? Micro engines are very small engines that go inside of things like a toaster oven, right? You know, when you press down and then it makes all this sound and eventually pops up the toast, that's a micro engine. It's very small mechanical parts that go into everyday objects and technologies like blenders and household appliances. Well, this was a Chinese company that had a public entity on the New York Stock Exchange. I lost all my money because they were writing up all these financial reports saying that business was booming. The company's rapidly growing. And then it turned out it was all fake and fraudulent. So it went from $2 per share to like 8 cents per share to 1 cent per share to zero. Lost all of my money. And then I realized when I'm investing in the stock market, I'm investing in strangers, I'm investing in other people's companies, I'm investing in other people's ideas. I said, hell no, I got my own companies, I got my own ideas, and I got my own brains. I'd rather invest in things I'm doing directly or businesses of people I'm familiar with or people I can reach out and touch. So that's just my little 2 cents on the stock market. And now I'm going to go ahead and get into this read. When I get the downtime in between a quotation, I'm going to put somebody on the screen, let them share their question. When you share your question, please say your name. Let me know if you're one of the saints. If you subscribe at www.patreon.com/thesaintandthesinner, let us know where you're from. Give us your question. We will get you an answer to it. The first thing that is written in this book is 2 proverbs. One proverb from Wall Street. It reads, nobody rings a bell at the top or the bottom of a market. What that means is that the bell that they traditionally ring on Wall Street to let you know that the market's open, they never ring it at the top of the market, meaning when people are making the most money, when all of the stocks are shooting up, no one rings the bell. What they're saying in this proverb is that most people don't know when the top of the market occurs. You can only tell that the peak of the market has occurred in retrospect, meaning that once the market starts to decline, that's when you know the top had been reached. So you never know when the top is occurring. You never know in the moment. Further, it says nobody rings the bell when you're at the bottom of the market, meaning that the best time to buy a stock is at the bottom of the market. It's when the economy crashes, when the stock market crashes, when Nike is maybe $100 a share, stock market crashes. Now Nike is $8 a share. That's the bottom of the market. No one rings the bell, which is to say, when it's the bottom of the market, no one knows that. No one is sure that it's the bottom because they don't know if the bottom is going to keep getting lower. You only know in retrospect, meaning after the market starts to rise again. The reason Wall Street has a proverb that says nobody rings a bell at the top of the market or the bottom of the market is to let you know that no one really knows what's going on in the stock market, none of the experts. So never trust someone when they say it's the peak of the market, you should be selling, or it's the bottom of the market, you should be buying, because no one knows. That's a Wall Street proverb. Now, me, I ask myself when I'm dealing with my own money, do I want to get into a game where there's that much speculation, where people just don't know? You're going to find this book, which is about investing, particularly in the stock market. It talks about investing over time, which is to say, in the short term, no one really knows what's going on in the stock market. But if you invest for the long term, the stock market always goes up. So that's why people generally are willing to use the stock market to create a nest egg for retirement, because over time, the stock market will pretty much always do that as long as you have a diverse portfolio, meaning you're invested in a number of different companies. The second proverb, it's from mountaineering. And I love this proverb. It reads, reaching the summit is only half of the climb, which is to say, when you climb up a mountain and you get to the top, don't celebrate, baby. You still got to go down. You get to the top. That's not the whole journey. That's only half of it, right? Which is to say, financially speaking, when you reach the top, when you make a bunch of money, the journey's not over. Now you got to protect your money from people who are trying to steal from you and sue you. Now you got to manage your money. Think about where to put it so that it'll be safe, so that you can save your money, so one day your money can save you. So I love those two quotations to start off with. I'm going to try to get through this book really quickly. And when I'm not reading a line, I will go ahead and put someone on the screen. The first person I'm going to put on the screen right now is Andres Galindo. Talk to me, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey everyone, my name is Andres. I am living in Toronto. And well, Marco, thank you again for this space for to ask you, any questions in regards to financial or anything else. So my question for you is, you mentioned to have a diverse portfolio, right? So
Yes.
right now with this coronavirus, do you think that is better to center your investments in a specific type of industries or in a specific type of companies based on what's happening currently?
I think that diversity is always good. I know a lot of people that are fabulously wealthy who are losing tremendous amounts of money. The only reason that they haven't become broke is because they have their money spread out in different things. So, for example, I'll just give my own personal story so that people know that it's real. In my case, I have a couple different financial interests. My main technology company is called Fletch. We do real-time location services. And what that typically means is for universities, we basically have a technology that will detect the presence of your cell phone within the classroom and automatically take attendance. During coronavirus, being that universities are not meeting in person, they don't need attendance, right? So our Fletch company, my main business, is not making any money at all. Since Corona started, we've been losing a tremendous amount of money. But did I become poor? No, I didn't become poor. Why? Because I have other business ventures. I also have men's velvet slippers, men's boxing shoes, women's wrap skirts. I also have a technology called MyKey, which if you lose your keys, it'll help you find your keys. You just click a button on your cell phone and it'll make your keys ring. Or if you lose your cell phone, you click a button on your key and it'll make your cell phone ring. That technology people are going to buy whether there's COVID-19 or there's no COVID-19. I also have a number of other things. So the reason you must diversify your investments is so that some industries will be impacted by macroeconomics, Macroeconomics meaning major problems that are occurring globally or in your specific economy. So COVID-19 is affecting macroeconomics, particularly those technologies and those industries that require people to meet in person. Yafeth, appreciate the contribution, my brother. Shout out to the Saint Center Nation. You dig? So another thing, if you're talking about diverse portfolios on the stock market, you always have to ask yourself not what exists today, but what is going to be important tomorrow. So in an era of COVID-19, I would invest in companies that are related to cleaning, companies that are related to medical devices, companies that are related to vaccines and pharmaceuticals related to things that will help people get over the pandemic. I would also consider the fact that people are going to become poorer. Well, when people become poorer, what do they need more of? Well, they need more low-cost foods like Spam, Top Ramen, things like that. So you have to ask yourself, what is next? And those are the things you should be investing in. Further, if you have cash liquidity, you should be asking yourself, what companies are really good companies that are going to suffer right now, but rebound tomorrow? So for example, if you're looking at computer hardware, well, Apple makes the best computer hardware, but it's the most expensive. So their sales are going to decline for two reasons. One, because they're expensive and people are getting poorer. And number two, because colleges are shut down most of the time, right? People are not coming to college in person. People are taking a semester off. So that's going to reduce the number of purchases of new MacBook Pros. That's going to reduce the number of purchases of iPads for classes. So their stock is going to decline. You get to buy it at a lower price. When COVID-19 lifts, the Apple stock will rise. So you'll be able to sell if you wanted to make a quick turnaround. But generally in the stock market, you want to wait and ride it out over the long term, looking at 5 years or more. Did you have anything else on that one?
No, I really, the information that you just gave was priceless. I really appreciate, your input on that aspect. And yeah, I also wanted to ask you in regards of last question.
Sure.
Honestly, is in regards to political aspects. So
Okay.
the new elections, upcoming elections in the United States are going to affect certain markets and certain companies.
Yes.
And things like gold and silver are very volatile right now. So I want to hear your thoughts on those type of stocks.
Yes. Well, if you're looking at commodities and very major staples, whether we're talking about oil, gold, silver, things like this, oil used to be something you could really rely on. With more electric cars and things like this and more solar power, oil is not as important as it used to be. However, when you're talking about buying gold, gold will always be of high value. It will be of increasingly more value because it's a precious metal. The dollar should be backed by gold. Most currencies should be backed by gold. So gold will always be precious. No matter if there are fluctuations in the short term, it'll always rise up in the long term because it is a limited resource similar to any other precious metal. So I highly recommend that if you must invest in such things, gold is always a clear choice. Saint Garvey, brother, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Shout out to all the saints that are pulling up on me. So yes, I would invest in gold. And the truth is, irrespective of the political climate or whoever the new president of the United States is, gold is always going to be a good buy. If you look at gold over a long term, gold always does this. It never does anything else. So I highly recommend getting into gold. But my true love is investing in early stage companies, investing in a Tesla before people had faith in it, investing in a Fletch when it was very young, investing in new companies where you can 10x your money, 20x your money. That's what really is exciting to me. Or investing in very simple products that are easy to understand, meaning that you are producing something like a new chapstick and you can get it from China for 50 cents each piece and you can sell it on Amazon for $1.50. That's a simple business. You double your money. It's very easy to do. You don't have to manage the logistics. Those are the things that we're going to be working on with the Saints over time. And we're going to start this Saturday, 7 p.m., a live stream for patrons only, in which we're going to go through SMART goals because I want all of the people who follow me to be winners. I want them all to be businessmen. Not everyone's going to be a great tech entrepreneur, but for damn sure, you can buy 50 chapsticks for 50 cents and sell them for $1.50 and make a profit.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Marquette.
Thank you.
That was my question. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Folks, in the book, Mr. Hack writes, everyone can relate to being troubled by fear during a bear market or tempted by greed during a bull market. For those of you who are not familiar with the stock market, when they use the term bear market, a bear market is when things are plummeting. A bear market is when all the stock prices are declining. People think they're losing money. A bull market is when the market is just shooting up. Everyone thinks they're making money. All the prices are rising up really quickly. That is a bull market. If you've ever been to Manhattan and you went to Wall Street, you'll see a big, I don't want to say a statue, but a monument of a bull. And that is representative of the strength of American capitalism and of the stock market. So what he's saying is that everyone can relate to being troubled by fear during a bear market or tempted by greed during a bull market. So what I'm saying to you, appreciate that. Are those pesos? Eric Alvarez, are those pesos, my boy? Because your boy's in Mexico City right now, you dig? I will come back to your question as soon as I finish this. So the important thing to understand is that the stock market is a game of mass psychology. You always have to think in the opposite way of the masses, which is to say that when the stock market has a bear market, meaning that everyone thinks they're losing money, the assets are declining in price. Nike went from $100 a unit and it's going down to $50 a unit and it's going down to $10 a unit. Everyone's panicking. They're selling because they don't want to lose money. That's when you should be buying. You're thinking opposite day. That's how you make money in the stock market. When everyone thinks that they're making a ton of money, it's a bull market. That's when everyone's tempted by greed. They start buying. The prices are going up. They think everyone's making money, so they're buying. You're not supposed to buy when the price is high. But because everyone's so optimistic because the price is going up, people start buying. You should be thinking the opposite. You should say, no, I'm not going to buy. I'm not going to get greedy because everyone thinks they're making money. That's a mistake. I'm going to hold on to my money and wait till that price crashes. So what he's basically saying is that whatever the average person is doing, you should do the opposite. That makes perfect sense, right? Because the average person in America is actually in pretty bad shape financially. So you never want to do what is average. You want to do what is remarkable. The stock market requires financial intelligence and emotional intelligence so that you don't go with the crowd. I want to shout out to the real Eric Alvarez for his donation. He writes, great value, bro. How do you balance running multiple businesses without being spread too thin? The key is teamwork. You need teamwork to make the dream work. You can never do anything by yourself. But with a group of hardworking, focused individuals, you can do a great many things. So that's number one, organize a team. Number two is be highly productive and focus. Once you decide to do something, turn off the TV, turn off the music, laser focus on that thing, set time limits, and only work on priorities. Everything can't be a priority. Everything can't be important. You have to pick the things that are important to you, the things that are going to pay. And the last thing I'll give to you about not spreading yourself too thin, being able to effectively run multiple businesses. What's that last piece to being able to do that? Well, I'd say the last piece is to do what makes sense to you. Do what is easy to you, which is to say, if I wanted to start a company building spaceships, that'd be a challenge for me because I don't know anything about spaceships. But when you build companies based on things that you enjoy and things that you're familiar with, it's easier and it's more enjoyable, so you don't mind putting in the extra hours. And also get some expert advice, because experts can teach you how to do things faster and more efficiently, because the name of the game is saving time and resources. The truth is, why would you struggle doing something that someone has already been doing for 20 years? Ask that person how they do it and apply those success techniques. I thank you for your question, Eric. I can tell that you're going to be successful because you are asking for wisdom so that you can make intelligent moves. I also want to shout out the folks who have donated on Cash App. Looks like we got Ernest came through, said thanks. I appreciate that, brother. Rinaldo came through. Appreciate that as well, Saint. So we are going to carry on. And if I miss your super chat, please just repost it, or if one of the moderators would repost, I'll be truly thankful. But let's talk stock market. Let's talk investing. Another thing that he says in this book is he writes, this book is a wonderful reference source. put it on the shelf. I'm a minimalist. So truth be told, after I read a book, I throw it in the garbage or I give it away because I don't want material objects. However, I do want to say that it's truly important to reference certain things. When you're considering investing, you need to remind yourself of good investment techniques all the time. You're never finished learning. Learning is a continuous process, especially if you're engaged in a difficult pursuit like the stock market. You always want to reinforce yourself with good knowledge. So I truly advise you that if you find something that's inspiring or has good information, it's worth rereading. And this book in particular, I've reread several times, and I don't even invest in stock anymore. Eric Alvarez says, that was fire. In Mexico City right now, too. How do you find the right team? Oh, shout out, man. You in La Ciudad de Mexico. That's what's up, baby. I've been enjoying it, man. He says, how do you find the right team? In the process of that now to expand my revenue streams. You need to go to the places where smart people are. Smart people are not everywhere. Smart people are at certain places and you can spot them out as well. So number one, you need to constantly be networking, putting yourself out there, letting people know, I am Eric Alvarez. Nice to meet you. You need to always be introducing yourself, handing out your business card, letting people know what you do, but also positioning yourself in the right places. Like me, for example, I walked around all day with this book so that during my downtime, I could read this book and review my notes. That's the mark of a productive man. You talked about how do I run so many businesses? I don't waste downtime. When I'm in the back of an Uber, I might be reading or sending off business emails. When I'm at a restaurant waiting for my food to come, I'm reading and taking notes. Those are the kind of people that you want to meet. You meet those people at conferences. If you go to trade conferences, you will meet the kind of people that you're looking for, because guess what? In Las Vegas, every year there's something called CES, Consumer Electronics Fair, right? And those are all the people who are in technology. So if you want to make friends in tech, you got to go there, right? So look for the conferences related to the industries in which you want to make friends. Conferences are a great resource because you know they're filled with serious people, because the people spend their money to go somewhere and get professional development or to get training. So I highly recommend conferences. I highly recommend elite universities. You spend your time in libraries at elite universities or going to lectures. That's going to be very helpful. Also, there's a lot of meetup groups. So for whatever industry or activity you're interested in, go to a meetup group or even organize a meetup group for that particular thing. It'll be a great inroads for meeting people. And of course, don't forget about LinkedIn. See who your mutual contacts are and leverage that to get introductions. So I hope that helps you, my brother. St. John Wayne. My grandmother just put me in control of $100,000 in a checking account, earning basically nothing. How would you invest this sum to increase her return for long-term gain and some liquidity also? John Wayne, I do not give out specific advice saying, okay, you got $100,000. This is exactly what you should do. To be able to tell you that on a live session would take a little more time than I have right now, but I am going to give you a little bit of game. Let me tell you this, because I was a young man with a lot of money, and that's why Paul Hack was kind enough to come talk to me and give me some knowledge and send his book to me, because he saw I had a lot of money and he wanted to give me some clues on what to do with that money. Because the worst thing that can happen to a young man or a person who has not had a windfall before, meaning a lump sum of money dropped on them, is you tend to either let it fade away by letting it sit in an account and do nothing, or you tend to squander it. So my first thing I would advise you to do is get an advisor, someone who's actually dealt with large sums of money. Have a meaningful conversation with them, meaning either you're paying to have that conversation because it's worth paying for their time, because they're a professional and they really do this. They really manage money. That's what they do for a living. Or they've had a lot of money because they've been successful and you're paying for their time. So they're giving you expert advice, because, hey, be cautious. A lot of people can give you free advice, but it's worth what you paid, which is nothing. In terms of $100,000, it's not a tremendous amount of money, but it's certainly enough money to put into the stock market. And you're talking about your grandmother. With an older person, the money that they have in cash liquidity, that is going to be truly important capital that they cannot play with, meaning that it's not risk capital. They can't put it into risky investments where they might lose a lot of money, right? So they're going to be looking at things that are stable over time, like the stock market, CDs, safe investments. So I highly recommend that you talk to a financial advisor. I'd probably put it in the stock market. Look at pulling it out no sooner than 5 years. So it has to be $100,000 that she does not need to touch. But if you want to book a consultation with me, I'm happy to have a conversation. The link for a consultation is in the description. But I hope that gives you some inclination. But the number one thing I want to caution you against is taking advice from people who don't have money today. I don't care if they used to have money. If they don't have money today, don't listen to them. If I didn't miss any more super chats, I'm gonna go ahead and get back to this. I'm gonna put one more person on to share their question. Alex Sanders, before you say anything, let me give you an introduction for all the saints on the call right now. Show this man some respect. We have a website coming out. This is 100% due to Alex Sanders contributing his expert technical services for all of you. The website is going to have schedules for live sessions. It's going to have a knowledge vault for financial advice, motivation, information about women. It's going to have forums for you guys to share information with one another. It's going to have groups for the people who want to do real estate, groups for the people who want to become entrepreneurs. It's going to be a tremendous resource for the Saint and Sinner Nation. And that's why people who are a part of this, you are going to get so much development. And I'm thankful to Saint Alex right here. So when you see this man, show him some respect. He's in the building.
Thanks, Quit. So recently I've been reading Richest Man in Babylon. And one of the first things I talk about is that you should always pay yourself 10%. Firstly, I want to know, how much do you pay yourself?
Good question. So paying yourself 10% is like a classic biblical thing, right? I think it's important because it allows you to always get in the regular practice of putting away some money so that you don't get overwhelmed with spending, especially as you begin to earn more money. Putting away 10% of $1 is easy, but putting away $100,000 when you're earning $1 million is a little more tough, right? Because you're like, I don't have to save $100,000. Well, actually you do. So that's number one. Sometimes I save more than 10%. I try to never let it go below 10%. But you really have to ask yourself, how are you playing the game? Me, I'm playing the game for big returns, right? So I like to keep my capital in action, meaning that I want my capital invested in new companies, startups. I want my capital invested in different products. I want my capital moving and working. I don't like my capital to sit in a bank. So for me, what it means to put away 10% for myself is to put that money into active investments. Because I feel like if my money is sitting in a bank, it's dying. You should think of your money as a soldier that goes out and fights on your behalf.
Yeah, sweet. Also, because I'm pretty young, I don't have a lot of money. And I'm just getting into a lot of finances and stuff. And I wanted to know, I want to get a nice setup for my bank accounts. So when I at the moment, I pretty much just have one single bank account where I put everything in, but it's really hard to keep track of how much I'm trying to save and then how I'm going to invest that. And I don't really know what to do. I'm kind of lost.
So one brother Garvey, Saint Garvey, shouted you out, man, and he's saying that we appreciate you, and we truly do. This is a great organization where everyone's putting in so much volunteering. It's not about the money, it's about helping one another. So shout out to you again, shout out to Garvey. So you're basically saying, what should you be doing in terms of structuring your bank accounts to allow you to save and invest? Okay, so if you don't have a bunch of money, to be honest with you, your bank's interest rate that they're paying you is really never going to materialize, right? If you got $10,000 or less in the bank and they're giving you an interest rate of 6% or 3%, whatever they give people, I don't even know. It's never really going to turn into anything, to be honest with you. My recommendation is that it doesn't really matter where you keep the money, whether it's in a checking, a savings, or some other type of money market account. What matters more is that you are saving the money and you're adding it up. And then as a young person, meaning from age 16 to 25, this is when it's okay to take risky investments and try to make your money multiply. And here's why. You don't have any kids, do you?
No, thank God.
No. You don't have any kids. You don't have a wife to provide for, do you?
No.
No. And if things went all bad, would your parents let you stay at home?
Definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what you should be looking to do right now as a very young person, and even if you're not young, if you don't have a lot of responsibilities, you should be putting your money into investments that are a little more risky, that have higher payout, so that you can get enough capital to do things like the stock market. You can get enough capital to back your own companies. This is a time in life when you take risks. Everyone should not be taking the advice that I just said. Only hustlers should take this advice. Only people who are going to work their ass off. Only people who want to make millions of dollars or better. This is not for people who want to be middle class and have a nice house. This is for people who want to be able to afford a mansion. I'm not saying you should buy one. I'm saying you should be able to afford one. So let me give you an example, Alex. And I don't know how long you've been following me, but it was about 8 months ago. I told everyone, I said, look, the cryptocurrency market has just crashed. You need to buy some Ethereum. Were you around when I made that recommendation?
Yeah, I saw that, but I did not buy some Ethereum.
Okay, now check this out. At the time, I think Ethereum was like $175 per unit. I told everyone to buy Ethereum at $175 per unit. Right now, it's at like 300. Let me just check, so I'm not making anything up. So let me just check, and this just shows you how sound the advice is that I give. Today, Ethereum is at $345. You would have more than doubled your money.
100%.
If you took my advice and you put $1,000 in today, you'd have more than $2,000. If you put $10,000, you'd have more than $20,000. Which is to say, there are people who have experience and who know things. You need to fucking listen to them when they tell you something, right? That's number one. And the number two is you're looking for crashes, right? You want to hold on to your cash for when there's a crash. Cash and crash equals a big splash in terms of money, right? So when Ethereum crashes again, which it will, and I will let you guys know on Patreon this time. I'm not telling everybody on YouTube this time, just on Patreon, you'll be able to double your money. So hold on to your money for opportunities like that. What you really want to do is save your money, work as many hours as you can to earn more cash. And also you're in tech, so you get to drive up your value. So when people ask you to develop a website, set a good price and don't back down from the price. That's the smartest thing you can do right now.
Yeah, sweet. Thank you.
Hey, my pleasure. It's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
All right. I'm going to bring one more person on, then I'm going to go ahead and get back to reading. We got you.
Hello, sir.
Is that how are you, Saint?
Marquette, how are you, my friend? Hope you're well.
Feeling fantastic. Absolutely. Talk to me.
Yes, sir, man. Well, first, I do want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Kind of touching on a previous point that you made, but first, I definitely got to commend you, brother, because I've come across your content in the last couple of weeks, and I've been truly inspired by one, just your message. You know what I'm saying? As just like a modern day philosopher, you really dropped a lot of profound insight, but also particularly your linguistic ability is incredibly inspiring, bro. Like literally, I've been studying the English dictionary after just being inspired by new words, new terms, and trying to expand my lexicon as a result of just, like the motivation brothers like yourself provide. So I appreciate you, dude. Real talk.
Certainly. Appreciate that. Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And so I did want to ask you, you touched on the importance and the power of networking, particularly in a city like Las Vegas, where in the past there have been a lot of networking opportunities, a lot of specialized conventions. I think those spaces are very valuable, especially the ones that you said that, there's a premium admission. You got to pay to get in. That does a little bit of filtration that can be valuable. But considering things that have gone down this year, particularly with the pandemic and whatnot, events being disturbed, how can we transition into the future world utilizing our networking abilities, maybe through social media, or what do you think events will look like in the future?
I think that eventually the old world will resume. We will continue meeting in person, and that will continue. Mm-hmm. What I always want to encourage the Saints is that we are the leadership class. We're not everyday people. We're not average. The creed of the assassin is to be remarkable. So you always, as much as possible, ask yourself, how can I be on the leadership side of the dynamic? If you're what's one thing you're interested in?
Marketing and technology as well.
Cool. So let's say marketing. If you're interested in marketing, if I were you, I would create a meetup for people who are interested in marketing. whether it's a Facebook group or, an online meetup, whatever the case is, I would be the organizer of that, because then you get to promote yourself and position yourself as someone who is knowledgeable in this field, or just someone who is the linchpin and has all the connections to the folks who are knowledgeable. So that's always the key, is how can you put yourself at the center and at the leadership role? So that's number one. In terms of how will networking look in the future, I think there's some principles that are timeless. Some folks say it's all about who you know. I say it's all about who knows you, right? It's all good if you know Marquette Devon Burton, but does Marquette Devon Burton know you, right? If I can say, yeah, I know Juice, I can vouch for him, then that means a lot more than you just knowing who I am, right? So the key is always being able to present and market yourself. And the question is, how are you doing that effectively online? And undoubtedly, authenticity sells, and also the ability to fill a niche and be unique. For example, who do you know who's on YouTube really about to read through a whole goddamn book and tell you all the important parts? Theoretically, that's boring, right?
No, real talk.
That's real. But that's real. You have to be who you truly are. So I say, don't change anything. Figure out what is remarkable about you. Market and dive deep into that, and people will appreciate you for that. But always be at the top of the mountain, hollering who you are, what you're interested in, and where you're going. And to help the Saints with that, every Saturday, 7 p.m., we're going to do a live stream, and we're going to go through SMART goals. What are your goals? What's the deadline for them? How's it going? What are the roadblocks? What do you need help with? And then we're going to allow everyone to share, because the truth is, most families don't do that. Your father's not going to be at the dinner table and say, hey, son, tell me your SMART goals. How's it going? How you progress?
Real talk, straight up.
We are going to do that. And I expect that when you have children, you do that with your children. And in turn, it will continue a cycle of success. But I hope that gives you some indication of how you can move for networking.
Absolutely. That's incredibly insightful, my brother. I appreciate you expounding that wisdom upon myself and those listening, man. Pleasure, seeing you in the virtual realm. You know what I'm saying? I once again, appreciate you being out here for the people, man. Definitely gonna stay tuned in with you.
So are you in Las Vegas?
I'm not. So I actually have lived in Las Vegas in the past, but I'm currently in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm in a more northern region and such. But Vegas is the second home to me, so it's very familiar. And I hope to come back around that way in due time.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking to put on a conference, brother. So do pull up on us. It'll be the Saints, and we'll be all here in mass, God willing, if we're able to put it on. We get enough folks. We want to make sure that we can get at least 400 people who say they can make it, which will translate to about 300 people who actually do make it. And that will allow us to cover expenses. And we're really excited. And you will be shocked at the quality of people in this nation, man. I mean, Alex, who just got on, developed our website. We got another guy who does design. Jabrizzi, I got to pop up his super chat, is a goddamn magician, man. So we have talent all across the board. And I really just truly believe in the power of bringing good people together, because when you come here in person, you're going to meet like-minded people, and you're going to be able to collaborate on business, build new friendships and things like that. So hopefully I get to shake hands with you.
Absolutely, man. I look forward to the occasion, man. Until then, definitely, much peace and blessings to you, brother.
Certainly. Thank you for tuning in.
Take care.
Okay, folks. So carrying on, in this book, it says, remain committed to doing what is fundamentally correct in the long term. This is an important principle, not only for investing in the stock market, but for life in general. It says, remain committed to doing what is fundamentally correct in the long term, which is to say, in the stock market, they tell you to diversify your portfolio, which is to invest in many different companies in different industries, so that if something goes wrong in one industry, you don't lose all of your money. Now, say all of a sudden people are like, oh, Tesla's hot. Everyone's buying Tesla stock right now. SpaceX is hot. That doesn't mean sell all of your stocks and put all your money into Tesla because it's hot right now. You might make a little bit of money in the short term, but in the long term, doing the correct things on a consistent basis will benefit you. So remember that as a man, it's not about doing the right thing one time. It's about doing the right thing consistently. You don't build muscle from going hard in the gym one day. You build that muscle from going hard in the gym on a consistent basis. I'm going to go ahead and add on another. Oh, I tried to add someone on and their camera's not working, so I'm gonna carry on. If you have questions that you drop in the chat, please make sure that they have a question mark on them so it's easier for me to see them. Garvey writes, yo, Quet, how did you figure that Ethereum was going to shoot up? Did you wait for it to crash? Yes. So there's a great website. It's called ethereumprice.org. It shows you the simple metrics. And what you'll be able to do is see how Ethereum is performing over time. And in fact, I'm going to give you a short screen share to give you an indication of what I'm looking at to define a crash. So let's do a little screen share. Why don't we? I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of what I'm looking at. Okay. So right here, you can see the price of Ethereum. Today, it's at $345 per Ether or per coin. When I told people to buy it, it was at $175, which means you would have more than doubled your money if you listened to me on when to buy and when to sell. Hell, if you held on to it, you still have a lot of money. So over the last year, it's showing that Ethereum has went up 90%. So right now it's at $345. But let's ask ourselves, what is the low? What's the lowest price been over the whole last year? So the lowest price has been around $108. So for me, I define a crash as the price nearing $108. So for example, the live price is $345. If I noticed that it started crashing and going down, I'd wait till it went to $108. And that's when I would start buying as much as I can, because it shows that this is the low point. And if you buy it at $108, then you're just going to wait until it climbs back up. Seems pretty simple, but the only problem is that people are impatient. So when the price starts going down, they want to sell when really they should be buying. When the price starts climbing up, they want to buy because they think everyone's making money except them. If you look in the last week, the last 7 days, Ethereum has lost 22%. You see, so it went from $483 as a high way down to where it is to $349. So it's almost lost $100 in the last 7 days. If you have a lot of cash on hand, you can do short-term investing, and you could literally buy some right now, and you'd probably make some profit if you waited another week, because it's going to go back up. I know that instinctively because I've watched these numbers for years and I have a sense of how it behaves. But that's not wise. You never play short-term investing. You always play long-term investing, which means that what you should really do is not invest right now because the price is too high. It's not low enough. Crashing 22% is not good enough. We need it to crash 50%. 80%. And when it crashes 80%, that is when we go in and buy. So I hope that answers your question, Garvey. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing there. And we're back. Jabrizzi Magic, thank you for pulling up on us with the super chat, brother. We truly appreciate you making that contribution. I appreciate that you appreciate my time. William Fernandez II. Thank you, Saint, for pulling up on me. I will absolutely stay blessed, and I appreciate you assisting me in that by pouring the water on your boy. You did. I don't see any more questions there, so I'm going to continue on with what I have for you guys. Oh, yeah, and if you have any questions, you don't have to hop on the video. You can just go ahead and post them in the chat. They're John and M. If you're wondering why I haven't merged you on, it's because it says that your device is not connected. So you might try to disconnect and reconnect. Right here it says, his fundamental belief is that if you take a long-term view and do what is fundamentally correct on an ongoing basis, then your your probability of success will increase over time. The stock market is unpredictable in the short term, but broadly cyclical in the long term. When he says that the stock market is unpredictable in the short term, if you're looking at the stock market day to day, month to month, or year to year, you're not going to know what's going on because the stock market is going to look like this. You're not going to know when it's up or down. But if you look at the stock market over a 5-year period, over a 10-year period, even though it's doing like this day to day, month to month, year to year, when you look at 10 years, you'll see even though it's doing this, it's doing it in an upward fashion. So if you leave your money in for 5 years or 10 years, you're going to make money. And that is why people play the stock market, because they know it's a good vehicle for retirement. What are you reading from? I'm reading from a book called The Steady Climb. It's by Jay Hack. I do not recommend this book, nor do I recommend stock investing. because I prefer money to be made more quickly. I prefer higher returns. But I did want to give some basics on stock investing because a lot of people find it to be terra incognita, meaning an unexplored territory. What are the languages that you consider important to learn? The truth is, if you're highly intelligent and you're only highly intelligent in English, English will get you pretty darn far. People overrate how important it is to speak multiple languages. I say that as one who has traveled through many different countries in every part of the world, whether you're talking about Latin America, you're talking about Francophone Africa, you're talking about China, you're talking about South Korea, you're talking about the Middle East. Speaking a high number of languages is not going to help you make more money, generally speaking, because you still have to have the skills. Now, if you have skills and you can speak a high number of languages, that'll be helpful. But the truth is, as a business person putting products and services out into the world, you really don't need to be multilingual, because I do a lot of business with China and all of my suppliers speak English. I lived in South Korea for a year and a half, and I picked up some Korean, but I didn't pick up a ton because it wasn't necessary. If you watch my video, How to Do Business in China, the Chinese government brought me there, toured me through 8 cities. I didn't need to speak much Mandarin, because when you're a person who is known to be intelligent, you have value that you can bring. They brought an interpreter the whole time. So picking up multiple languages, I think, is overrated. If you want to be able to flirt with beautiful Latinas, absolutely, you want to pick up some Spanish. But otherwise, I don't think it's as important as it's hyped up to be. And I know that's a minority opinion. I think someone just had a super chat and I might have missed it. So forgive me if I missed it. Droney, I appreciate the support. And Droney's been with me for so long. I couldn't even say how long. I know it's been at least a year that Droney has been supporting this movement, watching it quadruple and grow in size. If I've missed your super chat, please just repopulate it. Do you believe in investing in electrical vehicles is wise? I believe you should invest in things that you truly understand and things that you know. Further, there's no such thing as investing in electrical vehicles. In reality, you have to invest in a particular company. You have to invest in Tesla that produces electrical vehicles, or Toyota that has an electric vehicle. You're not going to invest in electric vehicles in general. So I always encourage accuracy. You have to think in very specific terms. That is the difference between those who are successful and those who are not. The devil is in the details. I never do business with people who don't have a strong grip of their numbers, their profitability. They should know all of the facts and figures. So if you're thinking about investing, don't think electric vehicles, think Tesla or Toyota. How's Cadillac going about the electric vehicle? You really have to get granular, because electric vehicles is a big thing. It's not, there are many different facets to it. So I encourage you to really become granular in how you analyze your investment opportunities. Okay, carrying on. Here's another thing that's hugely important in investing. Sir John Templeton is one of the best investors ever to live. He's made a tremendous amount of money in the stock market. He is a well-known expert. And Sir John Templeton writes, the 4 most dangerous words in investing are, this time it's different. Sir John Templeton, one of the greatest investors ever, he says the most dangerous words in investing is, the most dangerous 4 words are, this time it's different. What he's telling you is that it's never different. The stock market works fundamentally the same, and it's always worked in the same way since forever. It's cyclical, meaning it goes in cycles, boom and bust. A boom is a period of rapid growth. When Trump came into office, it was a boom. The stock market was growing rapidly. We might see a bust come very soon due to COVID-19. The stock market will start declining rapidly, but it will always rise again and it will always fall. It will always do this up and down, but over time it's going to go up, right? So Sir John Templeton is basically telling you, if a new company comes out and everyone says this company is hot, this company's never going to fail, don't trust it. Always remember, you invest for the long term. The company has to have strong financials, strong profitability, good leadership. A great example of people getting too excited about one company is WeWork. There was a company called WeWork, and basically this CEO went out and he marketed his company really well to investors, got a lot of people to put in money. And when it went public, essentially it turned out to be fraudulent and people lost a tremendous amount of money. I know because I spoke about WeWork on a panel at a conference in Las Vegas. And I was also invited to China to speak about WeWork and how startup technology companies will be invested in post WeWork because of how dishonest this particular CEO was. He writes, new to the community, great content, G, keep it up. I appreciate that. Thank you for the donation, my brother. I should be saying saint. I can't sound like these other guys. We're off some whole other stuff. So thank you for the donation. Carrying on. The stock market cycle, the peak before the decline, the declining market before the boom, which is just basic stuff. And here's the funny thing about this whole book. It's a relatively short book, and he's repeating the same things time and time again, which lets you know that they're hugely important, but it also lets you know that there's not a tremendous amount of magic to the stock market. The funny thing about the stock market and stock investors and things like that, if you're investing for the long term and you give your money to a money manager, they're not doing anything most of the time, because once they've allocated your money, they don't have to do anything because they're waiting 5 years for your money to perform enough that you're going to get paid out dividends or that you can withdraw your money with profit. So realistically, a real money manager is not active on day-to-day investing money. What he's really doing is getting new clients on a day-to-day basis. So I really, if I wanted to invest in the stock market, I would invest myself, because as a businessman, I have a good sense of what makes a strong company. I know how to vet company leadership and look at the financial statements of a company and see if they're financially solvent. And that's what you need to be training yourself on, is getting that business experience. Experience is one of the greatest teachers. And I know that because I've been invited to lecture MBA students, people in business school, even though I didn't get a business degree. So I highly recommend that you get involved with some simple investments. One thing I want to do with the Saints sometime soon is let them know, hey, I'm going to produce this product. It's going to cost this amount of money for us to produce it. I could use all my own money to produce the product. I'm going to open it up to you guys. If you want to invest $1,000, $500, and then we're going to go through the whole business process with you involved, so you can see what that is like and you can see how to mind your business, meaning look at how much money you're spending. How much money does it cost to build the product? How much money does it cost to ship it overseas from China? How much taxes are we going to pay during the Trump administration, which is 25%, is pretty high. Once we've paid those international duties and taxes, now how much do we have to mark it up to make a profit? Now, once we've made that profit, how much of this money are we going to keep? How much are we going to reinvest into the business? You are never going to learn better than when you're actually spending your own money and going through the entire process. That is how you truly learn something, by getting hands-on. You will never learn business without failing at business. You will never learn business without starting a business. So the key is to do it in a safe, guided environment with good information where the risk is not so high that it'll destroy you completely. How did you succeed with Fletch? How did you find the people on your team, and what steps did you take to grow Fletch? I'll give you a short answer on that one. You succeed by continuing to try. That's how you succeed, by reimagining your product, rethinking your business plan. If something doesn't work, you get more information from your customer, find out what they really want, and you rebuild product based on that. So trying hard as FUCK is what's going to get you over the finish line. How'd you find the people on your team? I went to conferences. I went to tech meetups. I went to university lectures. I went to the places that these people hang out. I also marketed myself and gave a lot of pitches on what I do, what my company is about, and what the potential is. Is crypto a tangible asset? Crypto is not a tangible asset. Crypto is a digital currency. which is not tangible. That's a short answer. Okay, looks like we have some super chats. Junior Kali, you mentioned that you do not recommend stock investing, which I assume is because of the ROI. Do you have recommendations on stocks to focus on? Thanks. Well, I don't recommend stock investing because it's a long-term investment. It's something that you would do when you're getting ready to retire, something that you would do to set aside money for your children, something that you would do when you want very low risk. If you're a young person or you're trying to build a fortune, you need things that are going to return you money more quickly. The stock market is not going to return money very quickly. The stocks that I recommend are future-oriented stock, primarily in pharmaceuticals, medicine companies, technology companies, self-driving car-focused companies, companies that are creating vaccines for COVID-19, companies that are creating products that help with obesity, things that are going to be increased, companies that create psychotropic drugs for people with mental issues because the society is becoming increasingly lonely. So mental health issues are becoming rampant. So you always have to look at what's trending in the society and invest in the companies that are creating the products to provide bandages for those problems, not solutions, but bandages. That's one of the problems with capitalism, is that they don't want to quite solve the problem because then they can't make money. If they give you a remedy, a cure for HIV, that's not as profitable as a medication for HIV, if you understand what I'm saying. So those are the stocks that I would consider. Miguel the Comedian. It's Miguel the Comedian. Became a fan when you did your critique of the Four Horsemen. I've seen the video 10 times. Can't wait to get a consultation with you. Miguel, I appreciate the support, brother. And I thank you for letting me know how you came to find my work. And I enjoyed that. That was one of my more fun roasts. And shout out to Stephens Cole, AMS, and all those gentlemen, no hard feelings. But you got to correct that which is incorrect. It's just the way of the Saint Center Nation. It's the way of the ism. You dig? So thank you for the support, brother. And if you drop a link into some of your comedy, we'd love to check you out. I know I love to laugh. I don't know about anybody else. I love to crack jokes and laugh, as you guys can see. Carrying on. I will answer any questions that you guys pop up, but I'm going to carry on with just these little bits of nuggets. It says, the methods may have changed over time, but the basic principles of investing and the nature of the stock market are the same as they ever were. The short-term movements of the market are completely unpredictable. If the market rises more than it falls, then the longer you stay invested, the greater your chances of taking advantage of that steady climb. That's another reason I don't invest in stock. If you give your money to a money manager or a financial advisor or a stockbroker, their goal is to keep your cash in the stock market so that they can trade it and they can make commission on the trades, right? Because they get paid every time they trade a stock. So they want commission from the trading that they're doing, or they want to keep your money invested because your money is in their hands and they continue to have control, influence, and they get to profit from it. But me, I want cash money. I want money in my bank account. I want money in my hand. That's why I like products and services where I sell the product, I get the money. Or I invest in the cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency markets move very quickly, much more quickly than the stock market. They have big swings. They swing low real hard. They swing up real hard. So you can get a 1,000% return in 1 year using cryptocurrency. So that's why I like cryptocurrency, because you get to pull your cash out. Because I want to pull my cash out and be able to use it for something, you know, buy a car or buy a building, whatever the case is. So I like things that move a little more fast. So the stock market is good, but it's more of a safe bet. It's more of a long-term bet. Looks like we may have gotten some questions. Do you trade options? No, I don't. It's a great way to make great percentage gains a lot quicker than holding shares. That's true. Made 68K off of 1,700 invested on the Zoom earnings beat. This is true. Now, when you're talking about options and things like that, or maybe you're making you're taking margins and things like that, or excuse me, taking leverage, that will allow you to multiply your money, but it's a little more risky. So I generally stay away from it. It's not my area of expertise. Okay, I already answered that question. Carrying on to the others. Confidence. React to Eddie Fuse. I bet you can't roast what he says. Confidence, thank you for sharing a note. And I'm familiar with you. I've seen you a few times. I appreciate you sticking around. One thing I want to let you know is that I don't roast individuals to roast the individual. I roast an individual to point out things that they've said that are untrue. So if, as you said, Eddie Fuse is, whom I'm not familiar with, if, as you said, Eddie Fuse is providing good information, why would you recommend that I roast him? If he's providing good information, why would you even put him up to be roasted? I don't know why you would do that. Generally speaking, if you admire or respect another man, you shouldn't put him in the line of fire. That's just not a smart or considerate thing to do. Lastly, what I always tell the saints is to think in a goal-oriented way, speak in a goal-oriented way, act and behave in a goal-oriented way, which is to say, Confidence, what is your goal in making this comment? Does it help you earn money? Probably not. Does it help you get a woman? Probably not. Does it grow you spiritually? Probably not. Does it do anything for you? Probably not. You're wasting your words, Saint. I'm trying to teach folks to be productive. Don't waste your words. Be thoughtful. Exclusive on Patreon. I just posted up a video called How to Think, Speak, and Act in a Goal-Oriented Way. That allows you to use your time so that you achieve your goals. So by the next time we get on a live session, you can say, Marquette, I'm $1,000 richer. I actually did what I planned on doing in terms of starting my business. Or I'm richer in women. I got 10 more women because I went out and talked to 3 women a day. Like you said, I was pursuing my goals. Right now, you're just playing around, man. Don't do that. Don't waste my time. Don't waste the people's time. Nobody wants to hear thoughtless words. I hope everyone has taken insight from his error and what I just said. But thank you for sharing that teachable moment. What realistic concerns are around a business whose products are produced in China with tensions so high? Today, the military leader said they are training to kill Americans. Strider, that's a good question. Most of what you see in the news is just entertainment. It's not actual news. Our financial ties with China are so tight that we will never go to war, open war with China. We will never stop our trade with China. So realistically, if you have a business that involves China, whether it's manufacturing, whether you're accessing the Chinese consumer market, which they're very interested to do, you're not going to suffer. The worst thing you will suffer is increased taxation from American protectionist policies. So right now, Trump is taxing incoming goods from China at 25%. Here's the funny thing. Chinese make goods so cheaply that even with the 25% tax, it's still profitable to import from China. So have no fear, business will continue. And that's why I always teach capitalism. I will teach capitalism before I teach democracy, because if you can get your money right, you will be protected in this society. No politician will ever mess up the money, because when you mess up the money in America, your life is on the line. That's why Kennedy got shot. Like, that's why people end up with a bullet in their head, because they mess with the money. America is always money first. Even though the money says in God we trust, really, the American society praises the dollar. So the dollar will be protected. We will not have war with China because that will cost too many dollars. It will slow down business. It will stop production. Have no worries. Okay. Yo, Quet, what would be a good area to get a room or Airbnb during the conference in Vegas? Both to be well placed for the conference, but also to possibly see the rest of the city. St. Garvey, depends on what your pocketbook looks like. I know Vegas very well, and mostly people like to be on the Strip, and the Strip is like the main part where all the newest high-rise casinos are, all the luxury resorts are. The most central property would be the Aria or the Bellagio. Very high luxury, beautiful properties, quite expensive. The nice thing about Las Vegas is that it's hard to be somewhere that you don't want to be, because there's so much to see and do, and it's very easy to navigate the Strip on foot. So you can find a place in Vegas that'll cost you $2,000, $3,000 a night. You can find a place that'll cost you $30 a night. So it'll be really easy for people to find something that's within their budget and within their preference. And one thing we're going to make sure that we do is after the conference each day, we're going to go out socially. We're going to be rolling deep, 50, 100, 200 of us just belling through the Vegas Strip, cutting up, having a good time, brother. I think you'll enjoy it. And once we settle the dates for the conference, what I want to do is create some forums so people who want to split the cost of rooms are able to do that and team up for that purpose. I appreciate that question. Carrying on to see the questions that folks have. Shout out to the females that are a part of the SaaS and who are pulling up on us. We appreciate your support, and we thank you for having clear vision. It's an honor to have you here. Anon True, thanks for pulling up, brother. Facts. Why do you think Big Pharma tells the FDA to keep potential groundbreaking drugs under wraps? Because sickness makes money. That is correct. 100% correct. Bora, when you first started your business and were not generating money, where were you generating income from? Before you start a business, you should get good advice, number one. If someone tells you to quit your job and just go full steam in your business, that might be bad advice. I always tell you, make sure you've saved up at least 6 months of runway for yourself, 6 months worth of rent and food and all those other things you're going to need to live. Because I can guarantee you 9 out of 9, your business is not going to make money straight away. In fact, it might take losses for the first 5 years. No BS. You're going to need to get investors, undoubtedly. So your first 6 months, you're going to be living off of your own money, creating your minimal viable product, your most raggedy version of your product that the consumer is willing to purchase. In the midst of creating that, you're going to need to raise investment capital. So you're generally going to have to save up money before you quit your job. I recommend you create your first version of your product before you quit your job, and you try to sell it, meaning go through customer discovery before you quit your job. Once you are convinced that this is a real product that can actually sell, then you start selling it. When you get so busy selling it and doing customer service and managing employees, then you quit your job. You're still probably going to be taking losses, but at least at that point, you'll have enough data points to show an investor, hey, I've created a money machine. If you give me $10, I can turn it into $14. Here's how I do that. So when I first started my business, I generated money, not at all. I used my savings, I depleted that, then I raised investment capital, and I depleted that, I raised more investment capital. That is how you do it. You're going to have to grind and struggle. It won't be easy, but it will be a lot more pleasant if you get good advice before you start. Carrying on. What do you think about EFTs and index funds? I think, again, index funds, for example, it's a safe bet. It's not going to give you a huge return on investment, but I don't want to get too deep into EFTs and index funds and terminology that people who are not financially sophisticated won't understand. I want to get people's minds started on understanding the basics of the stock market, but more so even understanding how people use the stock market, which is they use it to build money over a longer period of time, 5 years, 10 years, which is to say, if you're a 20-year-old person and you're not trying to multiply some money really quickly, yeah, drop a couple thousand in the stock market, leave it alone for 5 years, and you'll have, $500 in profit. That's kind of how that thing works. Start as a side hustle. I don't like the term side hustle. If you have a side hustle and it's not making money, then it's not a hustle. For me, the definition of if you got a hustle, it's making money. I don't think you should have a side hustle. You should have only a main hustle, which is to say that your main thing should be making money. If it's not making money, you should do something else. Now, if you have a job and you're starting a company on the side, then that's a different thing. What you should be doing is working your job and trying to work on your business as much as you can during the paid hours that your employer is giving you. You should not have the mentality of this is a side hustle. Rather, you should have the mentality of this is going to be my main thing and I'm in transition. The side hustle mentality is really symptomatic of a lot of people in modern society who are splitting their attention between too many things. I'm an Uber driver, a stripper, and I work at CVS. Those are not side hustles. You just got a couple part-time jobs. What you really got to be concerned with is utilizing your time effectively, having real priorities, and having focus. Shout out again to the ladies who are a part of the Sassin. This is one of the ladies a part of the Sassin who actually is subscribed on www.patreon.com. So I thank her for being with us. She hella fine and hella wise, hella spiritual. So I definitely encourage you guys to make friends. Don't flirt with her. She ain't trying to fuck with people, but do make friends and show her love just as much as you show any of the male saints love, because the women are going to be critical to our movement, because we are not MGTOW. We are not men going their own way, which is gay. We are men who are leading the way. So shout out to these lovely women who know how to respect a man and know how to be a respectable woman, a woman worthy of being treated well. Carrying on, fellas. Yo, Marquette, have you ever read Jim Rohn's financial books? I have. Stray G Toro, shout out to you, brother. I know Stray G Toro has been with us a long time. I am a big fan of Jim Rohn. He's one of the originators of the self-improvement, self-development industry. He was kind of like the father of Tony Robbins in this regard. I've not read any of his financial books, but I have read a lot of his philosophy just on living well. And so I highly recommend Jim Rohn. So any of you, if you haven't checked it out, please do. Carrying on. Lewis W. writes, what do you think of the potential Bitcoin can reach? 100,000 as some have predicted. Lewis, I'm glad you bring up Bitcoin. Bitcoin used to be a really good investment opportunity because it was very inexpensive. Now each Bitcoin is quite expensive. I don't even keep track of it anymore. But I think Bitcoin could reach $100,000, but there's no need to speculate because no one knows. What I'm more interested in is when and why will Bitcoin crash? And when it does crash, how much of it can I buy? So similar to how I showed that graph with Ethereum, what I would do if I were you, I would look at the last year, look at the data, see what the low point has been, and then try to find out when Bitcoin gets back toward that number and then buy up as much as you can. That's the more important question rather than, engaging in speculation. Good evening, sir. I've been making a killing in sports betting, for instance. I'm going to stop it right there. I do not promote gambling. Done. I'm happy that you made money. Keep making money if that's what you can do. But I don't promote gambling because, gambling in casinos as well as sports betting is just such a very unpredictable devil that has caused many people to go broke. Is Robin Hood official? I don't know who that is. So I cannot speak on that person. On my R. Kelly, I'm a flirt. Okay, carry on. You ain't never lied. That MGTOW is hella sus. I was just in a Facebook group today. It was called Alpha Strategies 2.0 or something like that. And a guy posted in that group, he writes, why is it that people have a problem with bisexual men? Soon as I saw that, I clicked exit. I was like, what's going on with these guys? That's why we have to have the Sassin as a closed community. And by the way, if you just recently joined the Saint Center Nation, we are going to have a new member orientation on Sunday at 7 p.m. every Sunday to welcome the new folks, figure out what their personal goals are, and let them know what our goals are for them, how we want to help you develop yourself financially, physically, spiritually. This is not a YouTube channel for me to talk and aggrandize myself and crack jokes and make myself look cool. This is an opportunity for me to give back to you, people who have dreams, people who have goals. This is an opportunity for me to create an organization around you, create a support network around you so that you can earn all of the things that you want. So if you have not checked out new member orientation and put it on your calendar, this Sunday, 7 p.m., it'll be going down. If you have goals and you want help with your goals, we got a live stream this Saturday, 7 p.m. Carrying on with these questions that folks have. And if you guys ever wonder why I'm staring at the screen so hard, that's because the technology that I'm using scrolls a little faster than I can read. MGTOW stands for men got this one wrong. Bora, I am a 16-year-old and plan on going to college as a business owner and entrepreneur. Have you learned valuable information and education in your many years at Berkeley, which made it worth going to college? I didn't spend many years at Berkeley. I actually did my bachelor's degree in 3 years at Berkeley. So I didn't spend a lot of time at Berkeley. The biggest thing that you get out of going to an elite university is the network. I did not learn a single thing at Berkeley in a classroom that helped me do business. Not one thing. If you read The Black Box, which I highly recommend, the link to purchase The Black Box on Amazon is within the description. When I was at Berkeley, I founded a fraternity. And I also acquired a fraternity property, and we raised about $1 million, a little under $1 million to renovate the physical space. It was within the top 1% of property in Berkeley. So that taught me about real estate, taught me about business, taught me about building an organization, taught me about recruiting people. That led me to entrepreneurship, but that was outside of the classroom. That was something that I elected to do on my own. Further, the network of people that I met in my fraternity are people who ended up investing in my businesses, supporting me when I went broke, building companies, let me sleep on their couch, introduced me to investors, supported me, handed me stacks of money when I needed it. That's why you go to an elite university, to meet elite people. The classes that you take are because realistically, if you're not in the hard sciences where you need a laboratory or something like that, you're smart enough to educate yourself. You're going there to meet other people on your level. So if you go to a college, I recommend that either you go to an elite college. If you're not at an elite college, at least choose an elite area of study: biology, chemistry, computer science, electrical engineering, cybersecurity, things that pay. Thank you, Droney. I appreciate that. And I think you're going to be really impressed with how this organization is developing and how we got the Saints Council putting people into positions where they can really accelerate our ability to serve the people. This is real gaming, pimping here. Quet, no obsessed simps here. Real ones only. Salute my Saints. Cash if Biden wins. I have not the foggiest idea who's going to win. Is Robinhood a good platform to learn the stock market? I'm not familiar with Robinhood, actually, and I don't promote the stock market. What are the best stocks to short right now? I miss getting in on shorting Tesla. Good question. So for those who are not familiar with the stock market, if you short a stock, you're basically betting that that stock is going to decline in value. If you want to short a stock right now, I would look at luxury brands that are selling very expensive goods. Those are the brands that are going to lose points in the short term because of COVID-19. I say that because a lot of the wealthy people I know are losing tremendous amounts of money. So undoubtedly, they're not going to let their wife go out and buy all the BS that they used to buy. So I would short luxury brands. That's the way to go. I would also short businesses that are over-reliant on in-person interaction. A lot of brands related to serving in-person education, right? Like Blackboard would be a great company to short right now. The stock app, fool, LOL. Anton, I don't know if you're talking to me, Saint, but let me say that if I've never called you out of your name, please don't call me out of my name. And if you do, please pull up on me and say it face to face. Oh, wow, I live in Berkeley. Tajane. I'm assuming your name is pronounced Tajane. Girl, don't get yourself set up playing with me, talking about you live in Berkeley. You know I'm everywhere like oxygen. And the question is, how long have you lived in Berkeley? Were you there when I was there? Did you feel my aura when I was there? Since the first critique of the Four Horsemen generated a little over 60,000 views, would you consider doing a part 2 critique to correct their first session? I don't even know which session I actually critiqued. Somebody sent me the link. Would I do a part 2? I asked myself, since I critiqued the Four Horsemen, should I go through and critique each of them individually? One of their most popular videos? I don't know. Perhaps. I just might. So if somebody sends me their most popular video and it's worth critiquing, I might do that. I might. But the truth is, I spend most of my time on here really strategizing about how I can arm you guys with the skills to win. Because what makes me truly happy is when a cat pulls up on me and says, hey, Marquette, I started watching your stuff 2 months ago. I was 30 pounds overweight. Now I'm in perfect physical condition. Hey, when I started listening to your stuff 2 months ago, I had 0 women. Now I got a great woman that I really like. Things are going well. And I feel like I'm managing her perfectly. Hey, Marquette, I started watching your stuff a year ago. I didn't have any idea about entrepreneurship. I've been able to build a business, and now it's making me $3,000 a month. I can live off of that. That's what I really want to hear. Every now and then I roast these guys for fun, but it's not really important to me. How do you feel about real estate investing? Real estate investing is great. I personally don't invest in real estate currently. I have in the past, but that is a reliable thing. And it also has a big upside too. So if you're going to invest in real estate, I recommend REOs, bank-owned properties, foreclosures, properties that are distressed. And it's best when there's a market crash, which there will be a market crash coming up soon. I like to invest in the West Coast, desert climates where there's not property damage from lots of rain or snow or flooded basements. So real estate is a great thing. And if you are into real estate, we have a saint named Vaughn Greathouse who is a master of real estate. And he, in fact, has a course on how to be a better real estate agent if you happen to sell real estate. So he teaches you about the mechanics of going through the sales process and increasing your bottom line, right? So I will connect you with him if you like. And also we're going to be creating little groups for people in different industries within the SaaS. And real estate is one that we have a lot of people in. In fact, there's another person mentioned real estate. So there you go. We're definitely join on patreon.com if you haven't. What is the time zone? I'm in Mexico City. The time zone is CST, I believe. Would you be willing to hear my business plan out to see if we could partner? Probably not. Because you're just coming out of nowhere. It says the truth is back. I don't know your name. I don't know anything. So Saints, I encourage you. Look at the video I just posted exclusive on patreon.com. It talks about empathy, the key to human relations. Empathy, asking yourself, what is the other person thinking? That's how you influence people, by anticipating what they're thinking so that you can use that to improve your sales pitch, right? I'm looking at you, it says the truth is back. I don't even know your name. So would I be willing to hear your business plan? Well, I don't know your name. I don't know anything about you. You're one random person. There's 300 people on the call. Everybody could ask, how do I separate you out from those other people? You do have a nice profile photo in a suit, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to the youngin' who got the suit on looking clean. Will the SaaSin meeting only be held in Las Vegas, or will it be held like a World Cup? The first conference we're going to do in Las Vegas because I want it to be affordable. The reason it'll be affordable is because Las Vegas is a major hub, so a lot of airports connect through Las Vegas, so it's cheap to get a flight here. Further, because Las Vegas is known for conferences, there's a higher concentration of hotels, and you can find a hotel that's low cost. So I want people who have to come from out of town to be able to get low cost accommodations, $30 a night hotel, just so they can just get a couple Z's, wake their ass up and get back to this work. Because we're going to be talking about everything. We're going to be talking about personal finance, women, how to talk to them, how to get women to work for you, how to improve yourself physically, how to improve your diet. We're going to go out with rolling deep, 50 people, 100 people, hit the Vegas Strip. So we're going to have a good time. And you really need to make sure you're a part of it, because we are too separated and isolated in this day. People are spending too much time in front of their computer, in front of their video games, wondering why they can't get a woman. It's because you don't go outside. So this is a big invitation globally for everyone, far and wide, to come to Las Vegas for the conference. And the only reason I am going to do it is because I want to be able to serve you. The only way we can do it is if we have at least 400 people who can say, yes, I can come. We got to get at least 300 people to prepay. Why? Because I have to pay for a space to hold the conference. I saw somebody make a dumb comment earlier. They said, it doesn't cost that much to rent a space. You clearly have never rented a space. It costs at minimum $5,000 per day to rent a space. That's just for the space. In our case, we got to pay for audio video, right? We got to pay for people to actually manage and run the workshops. We also got to pay for food. You know, we have to pay for a number of things. So the reason that we have to have at least 300 people prepay is so we know that we can afford to give you a high quality event. We also have to have videographers there because I want this whole thing documented, because this first one is going to be the first of many, but the first one has to be high quality. And I'm going to spend all the money that comes in on making it high quality. There's not going to be any amount of profit that's going to me. We're putting it back out and hiring videographers and doing everything we can to make it high quality. So Las Vegas will be the first one, and we'll always do Las Vegas because Las Vegas is the global destination for conferences, but we'll probably expand them to do at least one in the European region, one in the African region, one in the Latin American region, so that everyone, you know, has something that's a little closer to home. This is as we take over the world, right, gentlemen? Mr. Man in Action, what's good to the saint and the sinner? Salute to all the saints. Hit that like button. Truly appreciate you giving that reminder. And shout out to Mr. Man in Action, a young brother whom I respect greatly. And let me give you an indication of how a young man effectively does business, because this gentleman had reached out to me when I first dropped my book and said, hey, Marquette, I watch your channel. Here's my channel. I want to do a review of your book and interview you about your book. Generally, I wouldn't do it. A lot of people have asked me to do that, but I saw he was a young guy. I love supporting young guys. I saw that he has his own channel, and he's very much so ambitious, and he had a straightforward, clear email. He introduced himself, made it clear on who he is, what he's about, what he's pursuing, gave me an opportunity that could be helpful to me. That's a good model, guys. Learn from the saint. So I just wanted to share that little tidbit with you because it was smart, and I want you guys to be able to do the same thing. M. Garvey writes, the other day I overheard a dude on a date with a woman admit that on a scale of 1 to 10, his attraction to men is a 9. Oh, my Lord. Okay. No comments on that one. It's a strange land we're living in. Can you increase the AC for me, love? I'm a little bit hot. Yeah, I agree. That is crazy. MDB, you are that guy. Became a patron last month. Love your content. The way you handled the teachable moment was textbook. You the cloth brothers need to aspire to be cut from. Blessing fan. Penny, I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And I appreciate you having the confidence to compliment me. And I want to encourage you guys all to share compliments, because a compliment is the cheapest gift that you can give someone. So you should always be the first to speak well of someone, because it speaks well of you. You have to be confident to give out a compliment. UC Berkeley has a great alumni network. Probably. I don't even know, because my network is primarily from the fraternity that I built, right? I built an organization that I have like a very strong network with. So that's where mine comes from. But I say leverage whatever network you can leverage. Me and my homie were grappling at the time, and we both heard it. We started laughing so hard, they quickly vacated the area. Cam, appreciate the super chat, good brother. Thank you very much. Luis Hernandez has been with us for so long. Better to appreciate a home than to be homeless. Giving some words of wisdom. At Jabrizzi Magic, did you watch the movie Prestige? I think he's referring to The Prestige. That's a good movie. I saw the movie. It was a good one. And I'd be curious to know if Jabrizzi saw it as well. Brian Norfleet writes, as an older guy living in China, also, what do you think would be a good product to import to the USA? Brian, shout out to you. I hope you speak Mandarin, because I know when I was moving through certain cities like Hangzhou, no one spoke English. I was shocked, actually. But I very much so enjoyed China. And as a guest of the government, of course, you're going to enjoy it because you get the VIP treatment. What products are good to import into the USA? Well, as you know, damn near everything's made in China here, right? The real question is, what products can you import into the USA that you're familiar with, that you understand the market for? As I said, I just put a video exclusive on Patreon, which is about thinking, speaking, and acting in a goal-oriented way. It's easier for me to answer your questions if you say, my goal is this, and then you ask your question. You can import any product into the USA from China, but if you don't know about cars, you wouldn't want to import cars. If you don't know about cellular phones, you don't want to import cellular phones from China. I've imported cellular phones from China because I did a deal in Puerto Rico with the Department of Education, and they needed cell phones. And so I imported Android devices from China. And it worked out really well because we brought them in at a very low cost. So anything can make money. You just have to really be thoughtful about it. If you need more of my time than you might get on a live session like this, where I'm trying to answer questions in 5 minutes or less, click the link below to get a consultation. I'll be happy to talk through the specifics of what you really need. It would be dishonest of me to act like certain questions can be fully answered in 5 minutes. The question of what product would be good to import into the USA from China could be any product. But the question is, what are your unique talents? What is your unique understanding? What do you really know well? And also, what's simple, what's easy to do? And also remember, the United States taxes different classes of products differently. So depending on how the US categorizes your product, you'll be in a certain tax bracket. And also, depending on the price, the total value of the products you import, you'll be taxed differently. So there's a lot of particulars that we would have to discuss. Junior Cali, thank you for the super chat. What is a good read that you've come across in the past year? The best book that I've read in the past year is The Black Box, by far. And I've read it backwards and forwards many times. And the reason I say that is because so few self-help books give you stories, especially stories that touch your heart, because you will not change your behavior until your emotions are affected. And when people are often asking me, how do you become disciplined? How do you get focused? Well, you get focused and disciplined when you get serious. Something has to touch your heart. So The Black Box is the #1 read I've read by far. Another really good read that I've read is called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. That's a good read. I've been thinking about doing a book review on it because there's a lot of value there. And there's a lot of things to also be critical of. So hope those 2 books help you. The Black Box, which you can purchase in the description below, and I stand by it because I took 10 years to write it. And Can't Hurt Me was also a good book, not as good as The Black Box because Can't Hurt Me uses a ghostwriter for part of it, but it's still a really good, entertaining book that'll give you a lot of motivation, primarily to develop the body, not as much as the mind, but it's a good book. If you read those 2 books, The Black Box really will develop your mind and your spirit, and the Can't Hurt Me will develop your body. So that's my recommendation on the reading side. Last Ronan writes, can I bring a guest to the conference? You can absolutely bring a guest to the conference, and I encourage it because this conference is going to be educational for man, woman, boy, all that. It's also going to be fun. For me, everything that I do has to be fun. If I'm going to make money on a business, I also want to enjoy myself. If I'm going to do a conference, I also want to enjoy myself. So I encourage you to bring friends because you're going to go there. You're going to make friends that you already have. If you bring them with you, they're going to say, damn, that was lit. I can't remember the last time I went out somewhere with 50 of the homies or 100 of the homies. And as many bad chicks are in Vegas, bro. Vegas is Hotopia. Vegas got them. So you are going to have a good time, and the homies are going to want to pull up because there's going to be some beautiful women in Vegas. This is a weekend conference, so Friday night, Saturday night will be popping. Jabrizzi Magic.
What's up, sir? How are you doing?
I'm feeling good, brother. I'm in La Ciudad de Mexico, man. How about you?
Oh, man, dude. I done got back to Vegas from Chicago. You know, everybody wanted to shoot me, but it was all good.
You made it out alive. That's a beautiful thing.
Made it out alive. I was like, man, the talk that you were giving on stocks is crazy because I never really actually gave stocks any mind like that. And it's actually really good because I'm at the point where I think this is actually a good talk. It's very valuable in terms of like putting your eggs in a certain basket at a certain age, financial status, or just progressively over time. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, the key is to know where you're at in life. And, if you're 40 years old, you're 50 years old, you're 60 years old, and you've made some money and you want that money to continue growing, maybe because you're not working, put it in some stocks. But if you're a younger person, I think you really need to be trying to build up the bag. Before you set the bag down to let it grow slowly over time, you need to have a bag. So if you're trying to get a bag, you don't need to do stocks. You need to do cryptocurrency. You need to do entrepreneurial stuff. You need to invest in startups. These are the things that's going to really pop it off for you. Jacob S. writes, how do you approach people, including friends and family, in your life to invest? I want to be able to do this. I have friends who say they will invest, but they don't end up doing it. How do I convince them? That's a good question. My first company was financed by personal friends of mine. The reason that they invested was because they know my character and I was prepared. When you show up and you have a presentation and you can tell them, here's the problem that I see in the market, AKA this is the missing thing. Here's my solution. This is the thing that's going to fill that gap, AKA the problem in the market might be that women need a way to tan without getting sunburned. That's the problem. The solution is a drug called melanotan. You take a pill, it stimulates your melanocytes and makes your skin darker. That's the solution. Why should you invest in it? Because of blah, 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 blah. You have to know how to create what's called a pitch deck. I recently spoke with a young man who had an idea for a dating app, and then we talked about how to create a pitch deck during a consultation. So if you have a real idea and you're very clear on what it is and you think it's something that can make money, get a consultation with me because it's worth your time to create that 8 to 10 slide presentation that you can share with potential investors, be them friends, family, or strangers, to let them know what's on your mind and show them visually what you're talking about so they can take you seriously. Because the truth is everyone can talk, but very few can show. And that should be the key for you.
Hey, Marquette.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. I was just sitting here thinking like, man, this guy has a really good question. And I've been at this point in my life, and I just want to give him a step before that. One thing that you can do when you really don't have any money or finance, because that's usually why you're looking for an investor, especially in the beginning, is you can try to do value exchanges on knowledge. Because sometimes when you look at certain people's businesses, they are missing things. Like if you listen to them very closely, they will tell you what they're missing. Example, I used to be sponsored by this magic company, and they just wanted new leads and new people to come into the market. So what I did was I came in and I said, hey, look, I offer this new thing. There are people who usually don't watch magic that are on my page. And these are new leads that we can get worked up into the funnel of you guys selling magic. And it all worked out really well. So what I would say is find I think they call it the thumb screw, every man's thumb screw in the 48 Laws of Power, and access that. And sometimes it's not always money. Sometimes it's a knowledge exchange. And if you're always thirsty for knowledge, sometimes you can fill that void for people. And that will build the trust up a little more for that person to be an investor. And note you with this sponsorship, it started at $500. And then over time, it became like $3,000 a month on the sponsorship. Right. So that's what I offered.
And Jabrizzi, someone asked if you've seen that movie, The Prestige.
Yeah, I've seen The Prestige. Yeah, that's a bomb movie. I've seen every magic movie under the sun, which is not that many of them, but I've seen them all.
Right. And one thing I really want to talk, and you're going to hear me saying goals. And if you follow me and you've been following me for 4 months or whatever, and your life has not improved, stop following me. Because it's not, like I need you moving. You heard me? I want to see you winning. And Jabrizzi is a magician. He said he's seen every magic movie under the sun. Think about that. I like boxing. Every boxing movie that comes out, I watch it. Think about that. That's called focus. We're focusing on the things that align with what we're going toward, things that motivate us, things that reaffirm us. So that makes perfect sense, and that's how you should be. And two things. I want to acknowledge Preston, who sent through a Cash App. He says for multiple streams of income is needed to grow. So Preston tells the people that you got to have multiple streams of income. You cannot be a one-trick pony. You got to get your money all which ways. Brother Truth, I appreciate you letting us know that we missed your super chat. We have it up on the screen, and it reads, unusual option activity is a good market barometer. Markets are circular by nature on all time frames. Investing can be profitable in the short term with proper risk management and trade setups. Hashtag Fibonacci. This is high-level financial boss talk that went over most of your heads. But what he's saying is that there is a way to make money in the short term. This is true. And there are complex mathematics that can help you do that, no doubt. On the basic level, I want you guys to understand that the stock market is a good long-term instrument. If you don't need to make money quickly and you got $5,000 sitting around, there's nothing wrong with investing it across a couple different companies. We are going to wrap this thing up within the next 15 minutes. I'm trying to limit my live sessions to not be so damn long. I'm going to take some more questions that folks have. I'm just looking through, especially when they have question marks. Martin Gilliard, the fourth, writes, Yo Marquette, probably butchered that. Yes, you did. There's no E at the end, but it's all good. What is the best to network with mainstream promoters as a boxer? Much love from Houston. Number one is you often hear me use the term positioning. Jabrizzi is a magician. He came to Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world. Perfect place to be as a magician. Well, guess what? As a boxer, Las Vegas is the boxing capital of the world. Perfect place to be as a fighter. If you want to meet a promoter, come out here. I kid you not. My pro boxing contract, guess how I got it? I was sparring at a public park in Summerlin, which is just like right outside of Las Vegas. A guy was walking his dog and said, bro, are you pro? And I was like, no, I want to go pro this year. He was like, okay, well, here's my card. Reach out to me. We'll get my lawyer involved and we'll work it out. I have an email with a contract because of that. He saw me sparring in a park and said, you got the goods. I know because I manage a great number of fighters. Let's get some ink on the paper. So positioning is the key. You want to be with mainstream promoters, you need to be in the place to be. If you're an actor, you need to be in Hollywood. You're a boxer, you need to be in Las Vegas. You're a runway model, you need to be in New York. You're a video hoe, well,
You give it all.
At Bora, be sure not to get into debt for college. There are many scholarships. The book Debt Free College by Anthony Onia should help. Also, check out The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. See, that's love right there. That's what I encourage. I encourage you to show love to one another, build one another up, because guess what? Your good deeds come back to you. And it's much better to enter a community offering rather than having your hand out. So shout out to Financial Baby Steps for putting the knowledge into the young man. This is pure fire. I've got so much catching up to do. Daddy, the nuance of grooming. I do want to say for a lot of you guys who have female profile photos, would you please knock that off just for me, please? This
shit is confusing. I don't even know how to feel about this. I'm quite perplexed. I'm just like, yo, is that a man or is that a woman? I know that's a woman. That has to be a woman. This one has to be a woman. That's a woman.
That's a woman. Talking about don't start running game on me, please. I'm new here. Hey, hey, I'm gonna let you breathe for a little bit, but I'll be on your head top in a little bit. You dig? I'm not trying to be the devil, but isn't betting on stock market a form of gambling? Well, if you're not trying to be the devil, then don't be the devil. You can ask your question without mentioning the devil. So I'm going to take your question. All things that involve risk and success could be likened to gambling. Yes, undoubtedly. However, when you go into an institution of gambling, such as a casino, the odds are set, which means that the odds do not change and cannot be manipulated by any level of intelligence. The odds can get worse for you, but they will never improve to where you are in an advantage position versus the casino. Conversely, with the stock market, you're not betting against the house, so to speak. You don't walk into a situation where you have an open enemy, if you understand what I'm saying. Further, with sports betting, this is something that is not wise because there's so many variables, none of which are within your control. If a quarterback has a Achilles tendonitis and you don't know, and then he underperforms, you're going to lose your money for something that you couldn't design around. You see what I'm saying? That's why betting is generally a bad thing. So you don't want to gamble. The stock market is a gamble, but it is not gambling. I hope you understand the nuance and the subtlety in that difference. But I appreciate you pointing that out because this is a place where we build knowledge. So there's nothing wrong with questioning. I heard someone say Robinhood is the dollar store of the brokerages.
Oh, no.
And you pronounce my name right. What's the time zone for the new Saints orientation? Thank you. Thank you for asking that, dear. The new Saints orientation is 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And do forgive me, everything that we announce will always be announced on Pacific Standard Time because that's where I live, all right? You know, I'm not going to lie to you. We're announcing it on Los Angeles time because I'm in Pacific Standard Time. So if I ever forget, it's going to be Pacific Standard. But let me clue you into something. All of our meetings, we're going to try to standardize them so they're all at 7 p.m. so that it's easier for you to remember. So on Saturday, our goal meeting where everyone's sharing their goals, that's set 7 p.m. on Saturday. On Sunday, the new member meeting, that's 7 p.m. And that's basically going to tell you guys about what we're about, tell you what our goals are for you, hear what your goals are for yourself, what contributions you want to make to grow this thing greater. Thank you for that question. Yes, sir.
Real quick, you know what that guy that said isn't the stock market like a form of gambling? It made me sit back and think about magic. I'm like, you know, as magicians, like we low key are kind of slick because we know it's against us, so we flip the script, right? In many situations, a magician will cheat. A magician will find out the flaw in this one thing and then just extort it for all it has, right? And that's usually why you don't want them around. And I'm like, people should really think about when something isn't in your favor, do your best to get it in your favor because that's where the beauty of the control is. The magician is like the world is in his hands, right? Versus he's in the world. Like, you know, he's like the god-like figure, you know, to the world. So he always kind of tries to play it like a puppeteer, I would say. So I feel like when it comes to gambling, I like how you said start a business first. That was really smart. In fact, I hear so many young guys say they want to like invest in the stocks. I'm like, yo, where are you getting the money from?
Right.
In my head, I'm like, where are you getting this money from? I'm like, bro, you work at like Walmart. Like, you going, bro, you can't put all your money in there. You know what I mean? Especially when a stock costs like $100 for one stock. You know?
Yeah. For one unit. Right. I agree. Dystopian Dusk writes inspirational content. I'm looking to increase myself as a man and become the Black Bradley Cooper from Limitless. Shout out to Bradley Cooper because he did his thing in Limitless. That was a good movie. I'll stay tuned and stay learning. We appreciate it, brother. Please do. Caleb Miles writes, just cop the black box. Fire. Hot fire. Caleb, I appreciate that, brother. And let me know what you think. The black box has been a bestseller in the new releases category in autobiographies. It's been a bestseller. Excuse me, it's been the what are we called? Are you still awake? What has it been?
New release or teen and
issues. Ranked number 1 in men and boys and men's issues, and ranked number 1 in teen autobiographies. So yes, we are out here, and I appreciate you continuing to support that work. Martin Gilliard writes, also, brother, what is the best way to mentally calm yourself for domination and sparring and competing? The number one way is practice. Anything that you practice, you will become accustomed to and comfortable with. You will not be nervous because you've done it many times. So keep practicing, keep fighting. But with boxing, being that it's a very violent sport, I encourage you to get a coach that's going to take care of you and not let you get hurt in there. So remember that. Fight frequently, but get a coach that's going to take care of you so that you're not in there getting hurt. Quincy writes, when is the conference and how much we have to prepay and the deadline? How do I sign up? Thank you, Quincy. So let me tell you exactly what we're doing for this conference. The conference is already planned out. What we have to do is make sure that we can cover the cost of the conference. So at the very lowest amount, I'm going to spend $10,000 just to have a room. Nothing in it, just 2 big ass rooms to have the conference in 2 days. So what I have to make sure is that I'm not personally losing money, which is why we have to make sure that we can get at least 300 people prepaid, which means that you cannot come to the conference unless you pay in advance, because I have to take the money and use it to pay for the space, pay for the videographer, pay for the folks who are going to be working to manage it, to make sure it's a high quality event, pay for the food. All that has to be done in advance. Because I know people are unreliable, because I've been doing business a long time ago, I put out a poll on YouTube. We're waiting for 400 people to vote yes, I can afford this. If 400 people don't vote yes, I'm going to assume that we won't be able to get 300 people to prepay. If we can't get 300 people to prepay, we can't do the conference. We'll have to wait until the future when we can.
Yeah, let me find this poll real quick. Hold up.
Exactly. But I'm really excited to do it. And I asked Bridget, I said, Bridget, should I really even do this conference? Because the money is going to be very tight with the conference. She said, Marquette, I know you will enjoy being in person with the Saints. You're going to have a good time. That alone is worth you doing it, because you're going to have a good time. I said, God damn it, you're right. Let's do this shit. So I'm waiting to get 400 folks to vote yes, that they can afford it. Then we'll have 300 folks prepay. You prepay all of the $269. It'll be non-refundable unless it's canceled, right? If the event is canceled, yeah, I'm going to send you the money back, obviously. If the event is going on, it will not be refunded, because we're going to allocate the funds to location, to videographer, to employees to work it, to food, to whatever we're doing to keep you guys entertained. Hopefully, Jabrizzi Magic will bless us with a free magic show. Whoever got some skills, hopefully. That was my plug on the low, y'all. I'm trying to get some entertainment.
I got you. Don't even look, man. You know, y'all gonna have it exclusive. It's usually $20,000 for an hour for me, but you got it for free. You should show up.
You heard me. That's some real savings right there. Brian writes, I am 50 years old. What investment strategy do you think I should do? Well, it depends on how much money you have. If you're 50 years old and you got $8 million, there's one investment strategy. If you're 50 years old and you got $8,000, there's a different investment strategy. So you might want to get a consultation so we could talk through your specifics, because it would be criminal of me to recommend something to you without knowing that your true situation, right? Because just as, like you said, you're 50 years old, that's not enough context. For example, I'm 32 years old, right? I didn't ask you that. Okay, I didn't ask you that. Hold on, I gotta go beat somebody real quick, y'all. But 32 years old. My financial situation is different than other 32-year-olds. So I'm going to recommend different things. So in life, you never want a one size fits all. You always want something that's specific to who you are and what your goals are. So just be conscious of that. Respect, bro. We had a great interview on my channel. Check it out if you haven't already. Mr. Man in Action. Yes, we did an interview, talked a little bit about the black box, talked through some other topics. Great interviewer. Check out his content. Some wild stuff over there. Please believe it. We did ask him that question for you. Okay. Just going through trying to catch up on the questions. We got another 4 to 5 minutes. We're going to be on here. So get in your questions if you have not already. If you had one tip to give your young self, what would it be? Jabrizzi ain't even that old, but I'm going to let him answer this question anyway.
All right.
If you would give your young self when you was 8 years old.
All right. My young self. Learn when to shut your mouth, because you open it too much. I just have, like me, I still kind of struggle, but I think back to a couple days in my life and I'm like, I didn't have to open my mouth. I could have stayed quiet. And in fact, I'm actually trying to become better over time, because I'm such a vocal person, as Marquette knows. Like I'll say anything out my mouth. I'm feeling on my heart. But sometimes that can usually end up wasting my time in terms of discussion with people. And I'm like, oh, I could have did something else at that time. But I'm like, instead I spent 3 hours talking to this person about some BS.
Yes.
So I just think about a lot of my time is wasted doing that. I do a lot of that and I need to stop that.
Yeah. For my young self, I had the good fortune of getting money young. You heard me? I was getting money when I was a young guy, and I blew a tremendous amount of money. Hey, I'm not going to tell you how I blew it, what I did with it, but just know that I blew a lot of it. And my advice to myself would be, number one, to save 10% of every dollar. Every dollar that comes in, save 10%. Don't touch it. And then seek advice from people who have money. Because my problem was that I was getting money, but no one around me was getting money. So I was like the odd man out. Don't be around people who are not on your level or who are not striving to be better. So my advice would be to save 10% of everything I own, be around people who are getting money, and get advice from them on what to do. Like, keep an eye out and see what real ballers are doing. Keep an eye out and see what very successful people are doing. They're not in the strip club making it rain, right? That's not what they're doing. They might own the strip club, but they're not in there making it rain. So those are the things that I would tell my younger self. Junior Cali writes, is the orientation for Patreon members only? It is, and that's only because, you know, some things we can't expand to all of YouTube because there's 21,000 folks subscribed on YouTube. We can't serve that many people. We have the Saints Council. We have people who are heading up technology. We have a director of new members. We have a director of all these different things, and we can only serve so many people. So the new member orientation is just for the folks who are on Patreon. It only costs you $6. So if you can't spend that $6, stay focused on your bag until you get your bag up to be able to pay that $6. And once you do pay that $6, you're going to find that the value you get is way above and beyond, because obviously you get the exclusive video content that's not on YouTube. And then you also get the freebies on YouTube. You also get to be a part of a community where you can ask questions and get answers from intelligent people. You also get to get on live streams that are exclusive for patrons. So whereas here, this general live stream, I got to be very quick because we got 250 people on the line. When I'm on my Patreon only live stream, might be 30 people, might be 50 people. We can talk at length. That's really where you're going to get more benefit. Also, we're going to have goal sessions. So Gaius is going to run the SMART goals. I hope I'm getting that right, that Gaius is running the SMART goals meeting, either Gaius or Daniel. But one of the Saints is going to run the SMART goals meeting. I'll be there as well. And we're going to take you through how to define specific goals that are achievable and how to make sure that you're actually getting it done. That's worth $6 to have somebody check in on your goals and make sure that you're actually being held accountable. You can get affirmation. You have someone to discuss your setbacks. That's worth way more than $6. We just use that as a way to make sure that we're talking to people who are serious. Because me, I don't want to deal with people who are not serious. I don't deal with jokesters. I deal with hustlers. I deal with winners. It's only winners on this side. And so that's what we're all about. So, for example, even with the conference, cost $269. To me, that's nothing, right? To Jabrizzi, that's nothing. To another guy, that might be a significant amount of money. But I encourage him to spend that money, because how else would he get to hang out with a guy like me who has $5,000 in his pocket as pocket change? He wouldn't get that opportunity otherwise. How would he get to hang out with a guy like Jabrizzi who's 20-something and has 1 million followers on Facebook? How many million on TikTok? He wouldn't have that opportunity. So you get to be around high performers that you don't usually get to be around. You get to get game that you're not going to get on a regular basis. And then you get to hang out with 100, 200, 300 young guys who are just like you. That's priceless. So I always encourage you. We're talking about stock investing today. We're talking about this, but shit, the first thing you got to invest in is your goddamn self. If you can't spend money to invest in your goddamn self, you are fucking up, all right? Because you are valuable. If you're not willing to put money into yourself, you don't love yourself. So always be willing to spend some money on making yourself better and positioning yourself in the right place.
You know, I want to say two things, Marquette. One, with being around like-minded people, I think about it like Peter Pan. When Tinkerbell's dust would get on people, they could fly too, right? It's that little bit of magic that rubs off on people from being around them. And I'm like, Like, I really feel like in terms of my success, I strategically blocked myself off from everyone who wasn't that successful. And even though it was this very small amount of people I could be around or talk to or hang out with every now and then that were very successful, I feel like that ended up making my success. And also, those people always looked out for me because they knew where my heart was. I want to ask you a question. Where do you see the legacy of Marquette, Devon, the Saint, and the Center evolving into in the next 10 years? The legacy. And no, in fact, no. Let's say you're dead. You're looking at yourself right now, right? You're looking at yourself and you're looking at what you left on this earth. What do you see that looking like?
So here's maybe the most arrogant thing you will ever hear me say right now. Everyone make sure you're recording this one. You mentioned you said I'm dead. Like, what do I see that I've left behind? Number one, I've always wanted to go to my own funeral. I've always wanted to be alive at it, right? Obviously, I'm gonna be there, but I would love to be alive at my own funeral because there's gonna be so many bad bitches. You heard me? There's gonna be so many bad bitches in there. It ain't funny. So I would love to be there just to see all of my women just over a lifetime all together, which is all I ever wanted, right? That's all I ever wanted, to bring them all together. So I would love to see that. But on a serious note, my legacy, if I'm successful, will be that the Assassin has spread globally and our way of life becomes prevalent, which is the idea that men are leaders. Men live with integrity. Men live in a focused way. Men speak words only of things that they truly mean, things that are honest, things that are in their heart. We live in a world that's more honest. People care about each other. People greet each other. That would be a great thing for me to see. Like, the Assassin is something that's remarkable because it's reaching people all over the globe. We got guys, Alex called in earlier from Australia. We got guys in Mexico City. I posted his comment earlier. I'm in Mexico City right now. So just to see that this is beyond language, it's beyond nationality, it's beyond race and ethnicity. It's something that's here for the goodness of all of mankind. So to see that flourish would be my true hope, that this community just gives you such an abundance. Like, you join the SAS and your physique is better. Your goals are something that you're closer to. Your wallet is fatter. Your women are the ones that you want. So that's what I really want to see. And I think that it'll not only be my legacy, but also be all of your legacy as you guys build this thing up, because you can never make a dream work unless you got teamwork. And I see that every time you come on this live, it adds to the community. Every time Gaius joins a live and volunteers to run new member orientation, or Daniel volunteers to run the SMART goals workshops to help other men build their goals. Every time we all contribute, or Alex volunteers to do the website to benefit us all, we all pour into this thing. So it's something that we own collectively. And, just to be a part of that for me it will be a great legacy. And I think we're already on our way. So I don't even need to think out 10 years. I think in 5 years, people are going to have to show us some respect. I think in 5 years, when the next president is running for president, he's going to have to say the word assassin. You dig? I think in 5 years, people are going to talk Democrat, Republican, and they're going to talk Marquettism, right? So I think that we're going to move very quickly because this is something that is needed. So I appreciate that question.
That was very beautiful. You got all my faith in that.
Thank you. Thank you. Napalm1334 writes, on a real note, is investing in yourself real? Like, I work hard in music and wonder if it's worth it all the time. Investment. Doing all right, though. Let me be real with you. I've done many things where I'm like, damn, am I going down the right path? Is this the right way? People who say that they don't ever have doubts are lying. You could be doing the right thing and you'll still have doubts. If you doubt something, that doesn't mean that it's not the right way. But what you have to ask yourself is, do you love it? You might doubt it, but once you're done doubting it, do you love it? If you don't love it, you got to give it up. And it should be clear on if you love it. If you love something. And if you do, you can't be without it, right? That's what love is about. It's that thing you can't be without. So, for example, like, I love the Assassin. even though I might not always have time to go live as much as I would like, I don't have time to return everybody's DM, whether it's on Patreon or Instagram or what have you. I love hearing about you guys being successful, or hearing if I've impacted your life, or maybe you learned something. I love it. And that's why I take out my time to do it. Do I hate it sometimes? I get mad sometimes when I see a young man make a comment that I think is like foolish, and I think, damn, are you learning anything that I'm trying to drop on you? Like, for example, I saw a comment a young man wrote the following, and I still have love for Saint V. Lee. He writes, Marquette, is that a Snow Bunny, Redbone, or Nubian in the background? Right?
So ignorant.
I still love. I got love for Van Lee, even though he wrote that question, because it kind of bothers me, because I'm like, are you guys learning what I'm teaching? Because what I'm teaching you is that focus on goals, number one. Whether if I had 5 Snow Bunnies, 5 Redbones, 5 Nubians laying on my bed butt ass naked right now, would that affect your life? Not at all. If I had 30 Chinese women laying butt ass naked right now, asking me to give them my egg roll, would that affect your life right now? No, it wouldn't. So it's like, I wonder, are people really picking up what I'm putting down when I'm telling you to stay goal focused on your goals, stay focused on things that are relevant to you. What I do is of little consequence to you. Though every now and then I might speak well of myself, I am nothing. I am not here because I am important. I'm here because you're important. I'm trying to refocus you onto you so you can focus on your goals. Don't worry about my bitch. Worry about your bitch. Worry about if you have enough bitches. See, that's what you need to focus on. And that's what bothers me, because I wonder, am I speaking in vain? Am I preaching and no one is soaking it up? Are people here to hear jokes from me? Are they here to get some real game that'll take them to the next level? Because I'm not here to get super chats. I appreciate it because it shows me what kind of man you are when you support. But what's a super chat really going to do for me? Like, if it was about super chats, I wouldn't even log on because I would never make enough money. I come here so that you guys can learn something. So sometimes, yes, I get bothered when I read a comment like that, or I get bothered when, for example, when I posted up about the conference, a guy said, Marquette, like, you're greedy. You're all about the money. You're trying to charge people all this money for a conference. What? Use Google. Google, what is the average price of a conference? I'm going to Google that for you guys right now. What is average price of conference? Tell me what comes up if somebody else is Googling that right now. I just typed it into Google. What is the average price of a conference? I want to know what comes up. How much does it cost? What's the average price of a conference? I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share real quick just so people can see. Like, I would never try to make money off of a conference because that's not my business. My business is technology. This is the cheapest conference that you will ever see. I'm going to do a screen share to show you the answer just so you guys know what's real. And the reason that these things bother me is because I don't like lies. Can you guys see my screen right now, Jabrizzi?
Yeah, that's exactly what popped up for me.
How much does it cost to have a conference? The short answer is $1,000. In total, I've spent over $5,200 to attend the last. You see, it's $1,000 to attend a conference. I'm not charging that. So, like when people say silly things like, oh, you're doing this for money, it annoys me. But I also realize I got to focus on the positive. There might be 1 or 2 knuckleheads who literally hate my content and hate my guts, and they subscribe to me just to watch my stuff and hate on it. And that's crazy to me because if I don't like something, I try to stay away from it. But mental illness is rampant in the society. So those things bother me. But I try to focus on the 20,000, 21,000 folks who really fuck with me and who really want to grow and get this game. So, yeah, to answer the young man's question, if you doubt something, that's okay. It happens every now and then. Sometimes I doubt if I want to get on the live. Sometimes I doubt if I want to have the conference. But then I remember that I love it. I love hearing you guys grow. I love hearing people who have lost weight or got a new woman or got a new job or learned something that they can benefit from. So if you love it, keep doing it.
You know, it's funny. If it was in my head, I'm just like, if it was all about the money, I highly doubt you'd be posting on a platform where the videos are free.
Right.
Like in my head, I'm like, yo, the videos are free on here. Like, honestly, they're free. And also, you don't make that much on YouTube in terms of AdSense. So just let everybody know, you really don't make that much money off YouTube. And this comes from a dude who got 250,000 YouTube subscribers. So I'm just letting y'all know right off the bat, you don't make that much.
And I want to add to that, because I think it's worth being transparent. Jabrizzi's not cursing in his videos. In my videos, I'm saying all kind of wild stuff. I'm yelling out, I'm saying all kinds of vulgar, wild things. So my videos can't run ads. So most of the videos you've ever seen from me don't have any adverts on them because advertisers don't want to advertise on vulgar videos. Plus, I got 100+ videos that are all free. You could watch my videos and soak up a tremendous amount of game without ever paying $6. So to think that I'm doing it for money to me is an insult, but I realize it's just a minority of people. And that's why I encourage you guys, always focus on the positive. Haters are always going to be there. And that's why I just recently made that video called How to Deal with Negative People. And that was a free one, right? That was a free one that we put out for everyone to enjoy. So just wanted to share that. Bridget has just reminded me that's been well over 15 minutes. I said I was getting off in 15 minutes. And she's reminding me.
She be on you, boys. She be on your ass.
She does. She does.
She be like, it's 15 minutes. It's 15.
On everything. All right, folks. With that, I got to roll it. Oh, but you know what? We got to close this thing out right, don't we? So let me go ahead and pop up the Creed of the Assassin. And if you guys have not memorized the Creed of the Assassin, I'm going to need you to have that joint memorized. Because when you pull up on me at the conference and it's 300 people, and I say, let us close with the Creed of the Assassin, it got to sound vicious. You heard me? It has to sound like it's 1 million men saying it at once. So make sure that you got the Creed of the Assassin memorized. So we're now going to go ahead and pop this up on your screen so we can close this out right. I don't care where you're at. You go ahead and say this loud and proud. You did. So we popping up the Creed of the Assassin right here. Please confirm that you can see the Creed of the Assassin on your screen as we speak.
I can see that.
Absolutely. So, folks, let us say the Creed of the Assassin in the proper cadence. The Creed of the Assassin. Repeat after me. I'm going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable.
I'm going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable.
And I will strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am.
And I will strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am.
Folks, it has truly been a pleasure. I appreciate you tuning in to this unusual live session where we're talking about investing in the stock market, which is not normal stuff on YouTube. So thank you for taking out the time to use your brains and to be different than everyone else. I appreciate that last super chat that you threw in there, brother. The real ones will acknowledge that value received overall from conference experience will be substantially more than $269 plus lodging. Thank you. I appreciate that. I look forward to meeting you all, shaking your hand, sharing space with you face to face. Until next time, peace.